Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. I hope that you're all having a great Monday morning. Of course, later on today, we do have the new main events for the week showing up at 1 p.m. If you haven't checked out my event video from yesterday, make sure you do that. We are going to be starting to collect some Peggy Carter shards throughout this week and over the next couple weeks, because I think it's a little bit interesting because she is the first character of the Liberty team. And I don't know if this is, some sign of things to come, but it seems that they're tweaking a little bit the release methods, what they're doing with the path orbs, which we've had since Annihilators. I do want to talk about that a little bit as well. Also, we have some data mines to show for next week's events. They came out on Friday, actually, but I was a little bit busy and didn't get a chance to get that out. So I'm going to be sharing that with you guys today. And also within those data mines, it does 100% confirm that Battleworld will be back next week, which means that there's probably going to be a blog sometime this week. Some of the scoring for the events are going to contain Battleworld as well. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. So I kind of wanted to continue off with the Peggy Carter stuff because there is, if you look at where you get her shards from, obviously she has got offers, right? You know, a variety of different offers depending on what you want to do. Of course, these are in Canadian dollars for me. So the core orb, the Agent 13 orb, and the Path to Peggy Carter orb, which is not available yet as of recording this video. And I guess it was mentioned, I think by Pathfinder in the official Discord, suggesting that this was going to come back sometime this week. But what I find kind of peculiar, I mean, there are path orbs for the entire Liberty team. I data mined that a little while back, but it feels weird that they haven't released it yet. And so part of me feels, now I don't know if Mobile Gamer is the one who popularized this, but you know, there was this trend, I guess, of people, instead of buying the full offers, you know, you'd buy like I guess they don't have them anymore, the step up offers, right? For the characters, where you would buy I guess like for half the price or something like that, you would buy a bunch of these orbs and see how many shards you get. And I didn't watch all the videos, you know, that he did, but I believe, you know, sometimes he'd get lucky, sometimes he'd land somewhere in the 60 to 70 shard range, right? And then would core the rest of it to get the unlock. And it seems that by doing this, you know, maybe players were unlocking new characters for, say, instead of the 50 US dollars, because I think 70 Canadian now is about 50 US. So instead of doing this, for example, they were doing it for less. I don't know how much it was, like 30, 35 US. And maybe Scopely, as a result, was making less money after these strategies were popularized, because we do obviously have more cores to utilize with. And that's why I do my Should You Core video, where I, you know, take a look at each of the characters and whether or not I think it's worth coring for that character, or whether or not I'm going to be doing it, that kind of thing. So I guess if this is coming out later, there could be a shift where the path orbs do still come out, but it's not going to be with the initial release, because they want to make sure that you're buying directly the shard offers for, you know, 50 US dollars plus, you know, whichever one you end up getting, the 3-star or the 4-star version. There's also this other 4-star version, I guess, where you can get 6 orbs, which is, oh, it's a web special, so it's actually better to do that, I guess. Anyways, I don't buy character offers. It's so damn expensive. Like, when I think about this, I'm just like thinking about my monthly food bill. So, you know, it just, I can't justify character offers, which is why I go the way with power cores instead. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that because I thought that was a little bit interesting. But I really hope that maybe they're considering what they're going to be doing with this going forward, because if you caught my event video, right, then you'll see that with the alliance milestone, so hold the line, for example, you can see that they're giving free Peggy Carter shards over on the side. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 Peggy Carter shards for the week. And there's going to be 3 more hold the lines, I think, which probably will give the same stuff, right? I imagine. I don't know, maybe they'll change it to a different Liberty character. But they've also been providing other ways to get Peggy Carter shards through the orbs. So in the store right now, we're going to be finishing up later this week. We're going to be finishing up the costume orb for the War Machine costume. So that's somewhere down here. The War Machine orb, I guess they just call this. So 4 more days of that. And you get 25 Peggy Carter shards there. So I was wondering whether or not this was actually the unlock method for Peggy Carter, right? So 25 from here, 25 from the Cap Sam costume, and then 25 times 3, maybe, for each of the weekly Hold the Line events. Also, there is going to be Peggy Carter shards coming for next week's orb, which we'll take a look at here in the data mine. So I do want to cover this as well. So let's jump on over here. So this is from last Friday here, starting at coming soon. Oh, sorry, coming soon. Age of X Lalandra. So that's that milestone that we talked about in the blog post for Lalandra, where you're going to be collecting Mcron crystals from a variety of different tasks in the game, and that's going to give you Lalandra shards. So there's going to be a milestone. You're going to hit X milestones and get X Lalandra shards, right? And they did claim that, of course, that over the 10 weeks, I believe it was, that we would get a 7 yellow Lalandra for free. Now, I've already spoke at length about, what I thought this might mean, and I honestly think that there might be a yellow star blockage for Xavier because, Lalandra is the only hard required character, it seems. But how do they differentiate between I don't know, like an early whale kraken spender who does all the things to get Lalandra at 7 yellow early versus someone who waits 10 weeks? And the only thing that I could think of would be access to the Xavier saga, that there's going to be some benefit for spenders to spend money to get Lalandra shards. That's just my thoughts. Also, coming soon, Weekend Crucible. So this is what they were talking about. Also related to Lalandra, so earn Mcron crystal fragments. Commander, get ready for the Weekend Crucible milestone. Participate in Cosmic Crucible to earn Mcron crystal fragments and earn progress in the Age of X Lalandra milestone. So according to this, you're just doing Cosmic Crucible battles. So this sounds very free to play friendly. If you don't care about Crucible, I imagine you could just do a sack, on each of the rooms, and that'll probably get you the points for that, because that's how it works for the RTA pass. But if you do like one sack per room, you still get the points. So just make sure you're doing that when this comes back around, which will probably be for next weekend. Or this coming weekend, I suppose. So that's probably when it's going to start, and it'll most likely be on the blog on Friday. Just keep an eye out for that as well. And then this new event is going to be for next Tuesday. Now, keep in mind that, of course, the current event is an 8-day event running from today all the way till next Tuesday. And this is going to be the next one, which I believe is a 6-day milestone so that they can get it back to Monday. So coming soon, Life and Liberty. Earn Peggy. I was about to skip that. Peggy shards and tons of XP. You know who it is. I'm just going to say Peggy. Commander, get ready for the Life and Liberty milestone. Gain progress in this event by clearing waves in Battleworld. So there you go. That's 100% confirmation that Battleworld is going to be coming back. And it's probably, I don't know if they ever said what day it's actually going to start on, but I mean, it would have to start on Tuesday at least for the events to include that. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a 4-day thing. So I don't know what day the null battle is going to be, if it's going to be on Friday or Saturday. I actually don't want it to be on the weekend for Battle World, so I'd rather it run through the week. So if null might conclude on Saturday, Friday to Saturday, maybe that it was previously on Saturday. The null battles were always on Saturday. It was a little bit contentious, I think, because there were times where people, both myself actually and people in my alliance, just had other things to do on Saturday rather than do the null battle. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some word on this a little bit soon. And battling in war with mighty Avengers on offense or defense. I don't know who's necessarily using them on defense. Are they a good defensive team? I'm not an expert. Battling in war with Hercules, opening infinite Liberty orbs. So that's going to be also a way to get Peggy Carter shards. And from the heavy shoes, so this is the web milestone, right? Earn fantastic rewards, including all of this stuff, which is pretty typical. You'll also earn points towards the month-long blah, 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 and earn the item. So Infinite Liberty Orb contains Peggy Carter shards and Hercules shards, Dark Promo credits, and Dark Diamond credits. It doesn't specify where really the orb is from. So I don't know if it's just like a web milestone reward or if it's going to be another energy thing. We've had 2 campaign energy events in a row. So I don't know, maybe it could be an ISO 8. It doesn't make that clear here in the point structure that I said that I posted. So you get points for clearing one wave in Battleworld. You get points for bonus points, I guess. 5, 6. Actually, no, this isn't bonus points. So this is kind of like how it was before for the past event with Absolute A-Force. So 5, 6, 7 yellow Mighty Avengers. It's going to include all the old characters. So you'll get points for it that way. But you'll also get bonus points in this case, for 5, 6, 7 yellow Hercules. And then opening 1 Infinite Liberty Orb. Again, not super clear as to where and how many of these orbs that we'll get, but it does say that it includes Peggy Carter shards. There you go. Coming soon, the Brave New World Sam costume. I'm going to close down my my box here so you can see the rest of it. And this is going to be starting on. This was in the blog, right? So this is going to start, I believe, on Friday or something like that. where you're going to get the same thing. You're just going to spend your showcase energy one time, and there you go. Infinite Liberty Orb, Brave New World Orb, which is also going to actually no, this includes Falcon shards. New Falcon is going to be in there, not Peggy. So we have the first War Machine Orb, which is going to include 25 Peggy shards, and then I guess we have 3 weeks of the War Alliance milestone, and then we might have this open this Infinite Liberty Orb. I don't know how many of those we're going to get, but we should be able to get like a flat 100 at the very least over the next 3 weeks. So I'm just wondering, like, I'm kind of curious. So do you guys prefer it to be this way, where it's kind of guaranteed shards, or do you guys prefer it with the path orbs, where we got more of that? Because that's something that I kind of want to pivot back to a little bit, is that because it's flat Peggy Carter shards, they're not giving the path orbs in here. That's what they used to do, right? We were getting path to Jean Grey orbs in the raid milestone forever. There was like 14 orbs or something every week, and then we were getting a path to Hercules orbs in War. I think we're still getting that right now. I don't know if that's going to change, if they're going to swap that from Hercules to Peggy Carter. I'm not sure if that's the plan or not. But the other big pain in the ass that I find is that it just like really bloats the store. Like, so there's like, I guess they're still here. Path to Hercules, path to Jean Grey. There's less now. I'll be honest. I think because it got moved to the War. No, that's even gone too. The Absolute A-Force ones were sitting in the War store, I thought, somewhere in here. But looks like that's gone. So the bloat's kind of dissipating a little bit. But you know what I mean? Like the Emma, why is the Emma one? Why are we still getting Emma Frost X-Men path orbs? It's super weird. It is what it is, but why isn't it someone else at this point? It's so long gone. Like I almost have her at, I'm halfway to 7-star and I haven't spent a dime. So that's kind of crazy. I think I did get one jackpot though, but either way, kind of crazy. And so I would prefer a way forward where we're moving away from the path orbs. Personally, that's just me. They've had 6 months, I think, to experiment with this stuff, and they've had surely enough data to kind of suggest what's going on. This is my character release, right? So we've had this since here, right? Since Gladiator. So since August, we've been having these kind of path orbs. They weren't always called path orbs, I don't think, but they were still nonetheless the character orbs, right? So ever since August, which has been August, counting on my fingers, I'm pretty sure around 6 months time, in terms of what's been available for the data. And I guess they should have enough to tell them whether or not it's worth to continue that. And I just think it's annoying. Maybe I'm old school, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I actually preferred the Marvel Strike Force, where we got guaranteed shards. We were doing the events in a variety of different ways, weekly or a single character release event, where we would get 100-ish shards, 100 to 150, whatever, and we get the character that way. I don't like this slow drip nature, whether it's from the orbs. This is okay, the Peggy Carter, what they're doing right now, because it's guaranteed. At least it is spread out over what it appears to be like 3 weeks. So, if you want to rush that, then you have that option to obviously, buy some Power Core orbs to, unlock her a little bit early. I don't think you need to, because there's nothing right now that really that we need her. There's no events coming up currently that we actually need her unlocked right now. So I would, caution against that and save your Power Cores for Star Jammers. But that's just me. I think especially if you want to get some shards early for Lalandra, you're going to want to save your Power Cores for Howard the Duck, of course, and Havoc. I know I keep saying this. Why? Because it's not official, but it's happening, right? They know. It's probably going to be some announcement later this week, I would imagine. I'm surprised it didn't happen on the weekend, frankly. But there you go. So that's just Monday. I just want to do a little bit of a Monday roundup recap kind of thing. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Are you excited for the return of Battleworld? The one thing that I really need to see them address, and it better be in the fucking blog, is how many shards of Null can we expect to get on a monthly basis, because it's only happening once a month, right? So are we going to get enough Null shards to unlock him in the next 2 months? Because we would have unlocked him by April, if we were doing this every single week. We were getting 10 shards every single week. And I touched on this in one of the previous videos, but, I think that he is an important piece to the future game meta, what they had envisioned, because Null basically neuters Mephisto and Apocalypse, because it stops them from going empowered. Therefore, he can't pull out the book, and Apocalypse can't use his Falcon Punch because he can't go into those they can't go into those modes, which is a huge thing. And it also makes a big deal with the upcoming Xavier release and how that's going to tie into the arena meta as well. So they really need to start explaining what they're going to do with Null, how we're going to get more shards for him, but also, are we ever going to get reds for him when we do eventually unlock him? How are they going to handle that as well? So there better be some pretty good explanations this week in some blogs, both related to maybe the character events, the path orbs, and the Null shards and Battle World returning. That's what I hope to see and hope to hear this week. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And as always, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.